is there anything in your mind that you think we should make sure that that we keep front and center as we're moving forward? We're good?
I think it's important that, and Pat, you mentioned it's not the scope of this meeting, but I mean, if we do choose to move the school, I mean, what will happen to the building? I don't know how that gets factored in, but that's a big decision.
Well, I can talk about that a little bit if you want. My way of processing the big challenges and the big questions we have in front of us is to scaffold them. So I think the first big decision is, what do we do with the Sandy Hook School program and building? Once we make that decision, it then leads to that second decision. The second big question is, where do we locate a memorial? So, but we have to take care of the first decision before we can go to the second decision. So if, for example, the decision that this group makes is not to reuse the Sandy Hook School site at all, it then raises another question that would have to be responded to by this community, and that is, what do we do with the existing building? But it's premature for us to put that on the table, because that might be a non-question if we identify that site as being the site that we're going to use for the school. So I continue to go back to that as our first and big problem that we need to resolve before we go to that next level of question. Just my way of processing information.
I hear you, and I understand. My only concern is that the decision, they're very interconnected. I mean, if there's another substantial use for the Sandy Hook building other than a school, then moving the school may make more sense. So it's just that, I mean, I do think they're connected.
Well, they might be for some people. Frankly, they're not for me. I think that the big decision we're making is, what is the right and best thing to do with Sandy Hook School? And it might, one of the challenges that we'll have is, is this group wanting to consider remodeling the existing building or not? Are we going to consider reusing that site or not? And those two questions, I think, have to be either on or off the table before we go to any other level of questioning. I'm afraid that we get very twisted in our thinking, and really we'll have a lot of challenges in the problem solving if we add that other component to the decision, which is, could we do other things with the Sandy Hook building? The answer is yes, we could. You know, we could. There are many things that we could do with the building, just as there are many things we could do with the Hawley School if we chose to combine the school populations. But that's not the question in front of us. So I'm trying to keep our focus pretty narrow, because I think we can go so far afield if we don't.